like, no, you need to sit down and maybe write a pros and cons list about these. And if it's more cons, my baby, you need to get, okay? Because I'm not about to keep adjusting myself to try to please you. I can't, like, I'm fighting to remain myself. Stay curious. No matter how long you've known a person, always act as if you're getting to know them. That is your potion of the day. Welcome to the Nomad's Potion. I think a lot of times we get a lot of pride out of being able to say we know a person, like, oh, they don't eat like that. They don't like this. You know, such and such does this. And that's great. That's fine and all. But I think that putting a person in a box, categorizing a person, can also at times be very detrimental to that connection and can limit you being able to really build a close bond with that person. I think that that's something I dealt with in a lot of my connections, specifically intimate connections, where people would say I'm a certain type of thing, and then I start to identify as that and say that that's who I am, and it's really not who I am. Maybe I had to show up in that way with you. And one thing that helped me to see it was somebody I had met, real cool person, we're still cool to this day, and they were like interested in me, and I was trying to get them not to be interested in me, and I was like, you know what, I'm such and such, and I'm like this, like, we wouldn't work. And he was like, well, I don't get that from you. Like, we've hung out plenty of times. Like, I don't get that from you at all. I was like, well, I'm like that. Like, people have told me I'm like this. And he was like, people pull out different things in you. You know, like, that might have been who you were in that experience, but like other people will pull out different things in you. I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. Like, a common theme that I've dealt with not every person I've been with, but some people is like, you're too independent or you're masculine. And I'm like, you know, that is a part of me because of what I do for work, and I'm a very naturally motivated, driven person. I'm also very soft. I'm also very caring, very nurturing, patient, understanding. And so you have limited me to just this when I'm a plethora of things. So now you're only going to get that from me because that's what you put me in the box to be. So that's why it's so important to me to make sure I am not judging people and categorizing people as a certain thing, because I be doing that sometimes, especially food. I'd be like, oh, you don't love yourself, you eat like that.
I would never eat a plate that looked like this. You could pay me $1 million to do that to myself. Oh my God. I deserve better than that. That's low vibration.
So I'll be judging people too, but like when it comes to a person's characteristic traits and who they are and their makeup, I really try to be open-minded. Like, hey, that's them. How about you ask that person, like, why? Well, okay, what make you move like this? What makes you this way? Instead of trying to judge them and say they're wrong or bad because it doesn't fit into what you feel like a person should be. To me, like, this is a reach, but like, it's disrespectful to God. Like, let that person be who they are. Like, they're on their own journey to learn certain things, to figure things out, to probably later on help other people. But here you are trying to say who they are is bad and wrong and trying to change them. That's disrespectful to that person. I have been on the receiving end of that, where I was in a relationship years ago, and at the end of the day, I don't blame them. I should have known my worth and my value and stayed true to who I was instead of trying to people please. But I was in a relationship where, and I was peeping, this was before it even got into the point of it being a relationship. We were just talking, and they were like complaining a lot of things about me, and I realized I was doing a lot of like lowering of myself because I'm a very naturally like extra animated person. So like they were talking about me and how I am, so I was just like really like just like keep it calm, chill, like wasn't really being my full authentic self to try to please them. And like they would fuss about certain things, and I would just like do a whole lot of adjusting of myself to keep the peace, right? And I think at one point I kind of stepped back, like, okay, like I'm doing a lot of adjusting. It's only so much adjusting I'm gonna be able to do without completely changing who I am. And so I was like, you know, I don't think that you like me like that. And I wasn't saying it. They were younger than me, so I think that they may not have grasped the concept of me like not being in my emotions about it, but simply just saying like, no, you need to sit down and maybe write a pros and cons list about these. And if it's more cons, my baby, you need to get, okay? Because I'm not about to keep adjusting myself to try to please you. I can't, like, I'm fighting to remain myself. And they're like, no, I really like you. I'm like, no. I'm not saying it in like a, you know, give me reassurance way. I'm saying this in a like, no, like really sit down. Because I think you're not being real with yourself. You're seeing me as something other than what I am. You're not being in reality. And like, you need to see me for who I am because I'm doing a whole lot of changing of myself. And I think sometimes we as people will see a person as what we want them to be rather than what they are. And so we going, oh, I'm gonna get them right. I can change them. No. Don't nobody need no saving. Nobody needs any saving. We don't. We all, in my opinion, have a piece of God inside of us, and we gonna learn to get it together. You know what I'm saying? As long as we're going to God and being in tune with ourselves and things like that. But don't do that. Like for me, that really messed with me in a big way. I think I had to go through that to learn to love myself and stay true to who I am and stand in my power, yada, yada, yada. There were lessons in that. But also it was like, that couldn't have been avoided if that person just let me be who I was, and them realizing like, okay, like she doesn't fit what I would want a partner to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. I don't have to fit that. And you could go your way, I can go my way. And I'm grateful now for the experience. But back then it was like, I was like bitter and upset and all these things. But like, it is what it is. Like it helped me in a lot of ways. But on being on the receiving end of that, it doesn't feel good. And I don't want to ever make a person feel like they can't be who they are. Now, letting a person be who they are, letting a person be who they are does not mean you have to be around them. Like accepting people does not mean you have to have them in your life. You can accept who they are and they can stay over there. But going out your way to try to dictate how another person should live and be is not cool. And I think that can hinder you being able to learn and grow from the people that you have around you. That is all for this episode of the No Match Potion. I hope you tuned in. That is all for this episode of the No Match Potion. I hope you tune in to the next video.